So you want to believe when you tell everybody in the family that you are pregnant, everybody's going to be stoked, so excited. Not in this case. Her sister-in-law chewed her out for getting pregnant. So what's she supposed to do now? We're bringing in a professional for this one in a second.
All right, so here is the email we received where we were like, yep, we're calling it a professional. Hi, Bert Show, longtime listener and love you all. I am married to the best husband. We just found out I'm pregnant. I'm 40 years old, so it was a little bit of a surprise as we weren't actively trying to get pregnant. I was actually told by my gynecologist that I have a low probability of conceiving. Surprise. Well, I am a person in recovery from alcohol. I went into treatment last year, went to sober living, and I'm working a solid program in AA. I have 7 months clean and sober with no thoughts of ever drinking again. My family and mother-in-law have been super supportive of my journey in recovery. We are all looking at the news of my pregnancy as a beautiful and precious blessing. Enter the evil sister-in-law. She is a new mom, and her husband and her have been trying to conceive for some time. Their child is only 7 months old. We decided to tell close family that we're expecting and broke the news to everyone separately. My sister-in-law came to the house yesterday with her baby, and we sweetly told her we were expecting. Her face totally changed to a reddish hue and asked us if we were joking. We were a little taken aback, and I said, "Are you mad?" And she said, "Would it matter?" And my husband and I looked at each other in shock. Then she pointed at me and said, You think you'd be a good mom?
Oh.
Answer the question.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, yes, wow. I plan to be. Still in shock as to how condescending she was to us. Then she said with an eye roll, "You're in early recovery, so this is a horrible idea." I stood up and just walked upstairs bawling. My husband told her to leave. Then she asked my mother-in-law what she said to us, and she told her that she was very happy for us. So she took her baby and stormed out. This happened yesterday afternoon. Here's how I look at it. Yes, I'm a person in early recovery. I have a sponsor, went through treatment, and have stayed sober. I continue to work a program of recovery every day, and I'm so grateful to have had the courage to work on it for a better life for myself and my family. My husband and I were not bragging or anything remotely close to that. We expressed that we were surprised and a little scared because we thought it would never happen. But she took all of my insecurities about who I am and how I'll be as a mom and threw them right in my face. My husband and mother-in-law say she probably will not apologize and is too proud and defiant to say she was ever wrong. She really dampened what was supposed to be a happy occasion. Any advice on how to move forward from this? Sincerely, a nervous, quote-unquote, unfit mother.
So I am certainly not a professional, but I would definitely diagnose the sister-in-law with bitch.
I will co-sign on that.
Dr. Weiss, I think that's a very astute observation and a proper diagnosis.
Yeah, we looked at this and we're like, okay, we got to bring Jessica in. Jessica Hutchison is one of the hosts of the Honest Women podcast. For legal reasons, I got to tell you, that is part of my network, Pioneer. She hosts that podcast with Andrea Berkeley. All right, Jessica, where do we even start with this one?
I have so many thoughts on this one. First, I want to start with how she signed the email. Let me tell you that I have a kiddo that's almost 11 and a kiddo who's almost 8, and I worry every day about being an unfit mother. Welcome to the club, sister. Like, just embrace that. Like, it is part of it. Second, I don't think this is about her. To me, it's about her sister-in-law is struggling with her own insecurities that are clearly getting projected onto her. I like to say, listen, you are not the main character in other people's stories. They are the main character. Do not make yourself the main character in her story, which is what she is doing right now. I also think you have a lot of control here, my dear. Like, you are giving this woman so much power. This is an exciting, amazing time in your life. And congrats, because you are having a child that you thought you would never have. Do not let her take this moment away from you. You have control. I would also say, I think AA is one of the most amazing programs. I think the 12 steps could be used for anybody and everybody in our world. Lean into those supports. I can guarantee there's somebody within that program who is experienced and insecurity with recovery and becoming a new parent. I'll also say the best mothers have been through their own stuff. And that's what makes them great, because they have compassion. They have empathy for others. They understand things that the average person does not. I think she's already 10 steps ahead of her sister-in-law because of the struggles that she has gone through and is continuing to go through.
So, Jessica, let me ask you this. As a licensed therapist, how does she handle it moving forward with the sister-in-law? Does she bring it up at all? Does she ignore it?
I would ignore it. Truly, this woman does not seem like she is capable of having a conversation. If she comes to you and says, listen, I want to apologize for how I handled that situation. Well, that might be an opportunity then to talk about it, but she does not seem like she is open to conversation. I also want to say really quick for the sister-in-law, a part of me wonders if she has her own postpartum stuff going on. So yes, diagnosing as a bitch, I agree with you, but then the other, that's like the personal Jessica, the clinical Jessica is like, maybe she's got her own postpartum stuff going on over there.
Yeah. So, looking at this from her standpoint, of course her feelings are going to be hurt, because that was such harsh and hurtful things to say. And she's absolutely entitled to feel sad about it. But I 100% agree with you. It's like, you can't let somebody else's reaction control how, affect how you feel. So you dust yourself off. She already knows she hurt your feelings. I mean, when you ran out the room crying and went upstairs, she knows what she said was hurtful and that she hurt your feelings. So I agree with you also that having a conversation, you can't reason with somebody who cannot be reasoned with. It's just like banging your head against a wall. Why would you put yourself through that? So at this point, focus on the blessing. Focus on yourself, because that's what you should do, and let sister-in-law deal with whatever she's got going on.
Amen to that.
Jessica of Honest Women Podcast, what do you guys got going on the pod this week?
This week's kind of fun because we don't directly bring in the honest men, aka our husbands, who happen to both be named Dan. But as I like to do, I would like to wake him up sometimes at 6:15 in the morning and ask him his opinion on things. It's great. I don't always recommend it, but it works for me. So we have a whole conversation about becoming a father. So perhaps this listener needs to listen to this week's episode and share it with her husband, who's about to become a father, because that's where we're really digging in this week.
Thanks, Jessica. It's called the Honest Women Podcast. You can find it everywhere.
The Bert Show.